In the meantime, though, as you know, we're getting more details on the big event, the main event on Friday. The summit in Alaska between President Trump and Vladimir Putin, the Russian leader. We now have a place in Alaska where it's going to take place. It's been reported, according to the White House. It is happening in Anchorage. So let's talk about what to expect with some of our friends and colleagues there at the Foundation for Defense of Democracies, including analyst Peter Doran. He joins me. Peter, good to see you. You were on with me on Friday when news of this all broke, and slowly but surely, some of the details of the very summit are coming out here. So it's going to be in Anchorage. I was also seeing that Trump and Putin will meet one-on-one, face-to-face, not necessarily with so many of their advisors and staffers. Yes, I would imagine that's part of it, but they're going to get a sit-down, just them. What do you think they're going to talk about?
Well, Andrew, Vladimir Putin is going to take the measure of President Donald Trump, and Trump is going to know very quickly, within the first 2 minutes, if Putin is stringing him along. This is what Trump has said. Trump does not know what will come at this event, at this summit on Friday. But Trump has guaranteed that whatever happens, the moment he gets wheels up on Air Force One, he's going to be on the phone with Ukraine, on the phone with our European allies, and he's going to let them know whether or not Donald Trump, our president, believes there could be a deal. I got to say, I'm not sure there's a real deal here. I think there's been some complications along the way, but we will see on Friday whether or not Trump makes the call to Europe and Ukraine and says, look, there's a deal or no deal on the table.
So, Peter, land concessions are being brought up in the conversation of telling this story. On the Russian side, possibly giving up some of the territory they hold. On the Ukrainian side, Russian requests to have Ukraine give up the Donbas region entirely in the eastern part of the country, most of which is already under Russia occupation. Zelenskyy has, essentially dismissed that very notion outright here. Is that a non-starter for Trump, or is it on the table?
Well, right now, Andrew, Trump is trying to save face, and we can draw this all back to what we might call the Moscow mistake. So, Special Envoy Steve Witkoff was in Moscow on Wednesday, and he was alone. He didn't have any American diplomats with him. He didn't have any American translator with him. And it looks like, from public reporting, that Special Envoy Witkoff misunderstood what Putin was saying. Witkoff thought that Putin was saying he would give up territory. Instead, what Putin was really saying was that he was demanding territory. And Special Envoy Witkoff told President Trump Putin was ready to make a deal. He's going to give up territory. And all of these wheels started rolling into motion. Andrew, it wasn't until Saturday that the Europeans and the American side realized what had happened. And now Trump has to go to Alaska, sit down with with Vladimir Putin, and in the first 2 minutes, he'll know if there's a deal on the table or not. And then he'll talk to the Europeans and the Ukrainians.
So, Peter, it was also reported that, and I have been asking guests like yourself throughout the last couple of days, whether or not, the Trump White House will usher in Zelenskyy from stage right there at the summit. That's not going to happen, according to the reporting. Zelensky's not going to be there. I was also struck by that this meeting was initiated at the request of Putin while Witkoff and Putin were meeting in the Kremlin, last week here. Should we look into that at all? Should we read the tea leaves that Putin requested this meeting or not?
Well, Andrew, I think that's important. It shows that the Russians know Donald Trump has economic leverage over them. He has economic power over them. He has said, I am willing to drop the hammer on the Russian economy, and he's already shown it by imposing secondary tariffs on India, which was buying oil from Russia and indirectly fueling Russia's war machine. That was bad. And Donald Trump has taken his first steps. He's also said, I'm prepared to go a lot further on this, but I want to go to Alaska first. I want to take the measure of the man, President Putin, and I want to decide at that point whether or not a deal is on the table. He's already been locked into this by the mistake that Special Envoy Steve Witkoff made. He's got to save some face here. And after that point, he's going to tell the Europeans and the Ukrainians what his measure is of President Putin.
So, Peter, I think it's very well known and well documented. Donald Trump does not abide by diplomatic niceties. We all remember what transpired in the Oval Office in late February when Zelenskyy was there. And as you know, Trump and Vance ganging up on Zelenskyy, vice versa. President Trump literally kicked Zelenskyy out of the White House that day. The mineral deal at the time was not signed, and they went back there to Kyiv. Could you envision a scenario where, to your point, if President Trump senses that Putin's not serious, within the first 5 minutes, that he could walk away?
It's the first 2 minutes. Donald Trump has said that himself.
Okay.
I will know within the first 2 minutes if there is a deal on the table. And Andrew, you point out a very significant insight. Vladimir Putin is bluffing at this negotiation. If Donald Trump squeezes, if he imposes all of the powers that Congress has given him by way of sanctions or other measures, Vladimir Putin runs out of money to fund his war very quickly. Trump has all the cards, as Donald Trump said to Vladimir Zelenskyy. Now Putin doesn't have the cards, and Trump's going to know that very quickly in Alaska, Andrew.
Yeah, I mean, I've been asking, analysts like yourself who study this region of the world. There's a really great opportunity here for President Trump to be creative, to pull off something, to make a scene. I mean, like he did in the Oval Office with Zelenskyy. Or does he respect Putin more? Does he not want to make a scene? Does he want to be respectful of him? Could you see that being a scenario? Will he be taken in possibly by Putin's flattery?
I expect Donald Trump to pull his cards very close to his chest. I expect him to be very respectful, and he'll make the measure of the man, President Putin. And at that point, he'll get on the plane and he'll call our European allies and President Zelenskyy, and he'll tell him what he thinks. But what we know right now is that there is no deliverable, Andrew. There is no guaranteed outcome from this negotiation. It was all perhaps based on a terrible mistake by Special Envoy Witkoff. And so now Trump has to save face. He's got to go to Alaska, take the measure of the man, and then talk to our allies in Europe and Ukraine about what he believes is the way forward.
All right, we'll just have to see. Peter Doran, thanks so much. I think it's going to be really, really interesting. On Friday, I'm sure we'll be speaking. Until then, Peter, thanks.
Thank you, Andrew.
Okay, in the meantime here, we are hearing from Volodymyr Zelenskyy on social media today. He posted this video. We do want to show it to you, as we always let you listen to some of his remarks. This is in Ukrainian with English subtitles. Let's listen.
Бажаю здоров'я, шановні українці. Коротко про сьогодні. Продовжуємо комунікацію з партнерами заради спільних позицій. Заради сильних позицій. Говорив з президентом Ердоганом. Хороша була у нас розмова, як завжди, дуже правильні акценти. Я дякую за підтримку нашої незалежності, нашої територіальної цілісності, наших людей. Головне за підтримку позиції, що мир може бути сталим тільки за участі України в підготовці відповідних рішень. Також я хочу відзначити участь Туреччини в нашій коаліції охочих, це важливо. І ми розраховуємо на активну участь Туреччини в наближенні реального миру, наближенні реальної безпеки. Говорив також з президентом Румунії та прем'єр-міністром Нідерландів. Є принципова позиція європейських лідерів. Чітка заява Євросоюзу, 26 країн, усі з нами у дипломатичній роботі, в принципових позиціях. Зрозуміло, хто 27-й і хто завжди проти всього, просто щоб бути особливим проти. Втім, контактуємо з усіма. Наші аргументи наводимо абсолютно всім. Завтра продовжимо роботу із Сполученими Штатами Америки та з європейськими колегами. Говорив сьогодні також з еміром Катару. Я подякував за допомогу у звільненні наших дітей, які були викрадені Росією. Надзвичайні посередницькі зусилля. Сотні дітей вдалося вже повернути. Поінформував про усі наші розмови з партнерами, про можливі кроки. Провів сьогодні також нараду з нашою дипломатичною командою, Офіс і Міністерство закордонних справ. Ми готуємо певні кроки, щоб додатково мобілізувати партнерів. Хочу окремо відзначити наші домовленості з Нідерландами. Це один з лідерів підтримки для України в Європі. І ми готуємо ще речі, які посилять нас. Зокрема, це стосується дронів. Були сьогодні доповіді наших військових, фронт, особливо Добропілля, Покровський напрямок. Зроблені там кроки, щоб виправити ситуацію. Я вдячний кожному підрозділу, кожному нашому воїну, які зараз знищують окупант. Позиції на Харківщині, позиції на Запоріжжі, позиції на Сумщині. Всюди ми стараємось забезпечити Україні саме такий захист, як потрібно. Ще одне. Була нарада з урядовцями, прем'єр-міністр, міністр фінансів, міністр освіти. Я доручив зробити кілька кроків, які можуть підтримати наших людей. Підтримати та забезпечити молодим українцям реально більше можливостей бути тут, бути в Україні, навчатись тут, будувати своє майбутнє тут. Попри все, ми будемо збільшувати стипендії нового бюджетного року. Також ми будемо спрощувати умови вступу в українські вищі навчальні заклади. Урядовці попрацюють, зокрема, і зимову вступну кампанію. Також ми будемо змінювати правила перетину кордону таким чином, щоб це було можливо і для хлопців 18-22. Щоб більше людей йшли на навчання тут, і щоб молодим українцям, які з різних причин за кордоном, було легше зберігати зв'язки з Україною. Дякую всім, хто з нами, хто з нашою державою. Дякую кожному, хто воює заради України, хто працює заради України, заради держави і людей. Та кожному, хто нам допомагає. Слава Україні!
Okay, so wanted to let you hear from Zelensky himself. So we'll be in full live coverage of the summit there in Anchorage, Alaska on Friday between President Trump and Vladimir Putin.